What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, and this is the Philly Tall Podcast. And we are back with another live stream. Literally, my last live ended less than an hour ago. And in that stream, we talked about when are we going to get the notification that Nick Serriani fires Kevin Patullo. Shoot, if it's not Nick, let it be Howie, let it be Lori. Somebody got to do it. What's taking so long? And here it is. Adam Schefter tweeted a couple minutes ago because I was on the road picking up my kids. Source: Eagles fired offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo. Eagles now will be going on their fifth OC in 5 years, with two of them leaving for head coaching jobs. So I don't want to say this, but this needs to be said. If you ever want to be a head coach, being an OC for the Eagles, having success will get you a head coaching job. But what the Eagle fans want and what we need is a coordinator that has been there, done that at the head coaching pinnacle, and just wants to be on a team that he can have success with and coach football. We need a Vic Fangio type coach to be our new OC, or we'll continue to change OC as long as Nick Sirianni is the head coach. This is why I do got to think about this week. What are my true feelings on Nick Sirianni as a coach after I saw the whole craziness with AJ Brown, another season where you hired the wrong person internally, and when things go wrong, you can't fix it. Not only can you not fix it, you literally say, I don't know what the answers to fix it is. Once again, if you're just jumping in here, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell so you know when we go live drop videos, whether we drop a video and a live stream in the same day or go live 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, depending on the Eagle news. Also, what should be popping up above me is the live stream we did an hour or two ago, which is crazy because we talked not only about Kevin Patullo being fired, which we called it. I think we all knew it. It was when will he get fired? You got to hear the Fran Duffy video. He nailed everything that went wrong this season. More importantly, in that game versus the Niners, we also have a video of Kevin Patullo literally telling Richard Sherman, well, he told Fitzpatrick, who told Richard Sherman, that it's not his fault. Why are they blaming him? I don't know if he was trying to blame Nick or if he was trying to blame Jalen and the players. And we also talk about exactly how many times we did hitch routes in that playoff game. 48. We compare it to the other good offenses, Sean McVay's, Kyle Shanahan's, and the Bears. Go check out that live stream as well. There's more context into just how we all feel about losing a playoff game. This is solely talking about the fact that Kevin Patullo is gone. We will now be on our fifth OC. And quite frankly, I want some continuity at the OC position, but not if it means keeping him. And he's fired. Another thing I was scared of is that possibly the Eagles go ahead and demote him from OC and let him be the passing game coordinator again. So that didn't happen, which I am glad I'm hearing. Let's go ahead and actually read the note from Nick Sirianni. Let's go ahead and read the note from Nick Sirianni. Let's see how I can see. All right, let me zoom back out so we can read it. I have decided to make a change at offensive coordinator. I met with Kevin today to discuss the difficult decision, as he's a great coach who has my utmost respect. He has been integral to the team's success over the last 5 years, not only on the field product, but behind the scenes as a valued leader for our players and our organization. I have no doubt he will continue to have a successful coaching career. Ultimately, when we fall short of our goals, that's responsibility lies on my shoulders. Head coach Nick Sirianni. So as of now, he's still the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. We are on our 5th offensive coordinator lookout, but KP is officially gone. Now I know half Eagle Nation want Nick Sirianni to be fired as well. We'll talk about that more in the upcoming days because I still got to feel out how I feel. But just to throw out some offensive coordinators' names out there, someone I didn't mention in the other stream, Cliff Kingsbury. The Eagles were interested in him prior to getting Kellen Moore. He's a name that we could look at. Brian Daboll has some knowledge of Jalen Hurts, not only playing him in a division, but also being with him at Alabama. Although there was that benching factor, it really wasn't him, though. It was Nick Saban who did the benching. He was just on the staff. Again, if you look at Brian Daboll as a head coach, not so successful with the New York Giants. However, look at Daniel Jones. He wasn't successful as a quarterback with the New York Giants, goes to the Colts and plays lights out before his injury. Brian Daboll was a good offensive play caller in Buffalo before he got the head coaching job. And again, a guy like Brian Daboll has been a head coach, has realized the scrutiny at that level if you don't win, had success with the Bills as OC. Maybe he could be your long-term solution at OC. But I'm looking at Cliff Kingsbury, Brian Daboll, Tom Monken, who I thought was going to go with John Harbaugh wherever he goes, but he's interviewing for OC jobs without John Harbaugh, as he took an interview with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just yesterday. So again, I don't know exactly who I want yet. I want to do more research behind each person, each candidate, and what they will bring to the table. But these are the names I'm looking at right now. Again, Kevin Stefanski, great offensive mind, but I think he's going to be a head coach somewhere. There's teams lining up for him. Mike McDaniels is a guy that I think his offensive mind would be beautiful for Philly. Got to check the working relationship with him and Vic Fangio, although I don't think it was a problem between coaches. I think it was a problem between Fangio and the Dolphins players, and the fact that Fangio wanted to come back to Philly. He's always wanted to be in Philly. He would have been the DC in 2023 if Jonathan Gannon didn't mess everything up after losing the Super Bowl and then taking too long. He would have been the DC in 2023. So I like Cliff Kingsbury, Brian Daboll, Todd Monken, Mike McDaniel. They're the ones that come to my mind right now. Mike McDaniel been a head coach. Maybe you could keep him at OC for a couple years. Daboll been a head coach. Maybe you can keep him as an OC for a couple years. Cliff Kingsbury is a guy that if he becomes our OC, balls out, he might leave as a head coach like Kellen Moore did. But at the end of the day, we got our wish. Adam Schefter reported it. And it is what it is. It is what it is. I thought we would have heard it a lot sooner. I'm glad he's not being demoted. We'll see. I'm not going to stay live too long because, again, I talked a lot about Eagles, Niners, getting rid of KP, the fact that he blamed everybody else. Definitely go check out the last live stream. It literally ended an hour ago. There's a lot more context in Eagle talk than what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to read a couple comments and get up out of here. I just wanted to get a video up of me saying this. And, of course, I don't got to tell you all my thoughts. We've all been talking about this needed to be done throughout the season. They postponed it. And now the season is not postponed. It's canceled. It's expired because it took too long for him to get fired. Cliff and Mike sound good. Yoda said, I'm not sold on Cliff or Daboll. Maybe McDaniels. Oh, yeah, McDaniel will be my first pick. But he's going to be looked at throughout the whole league as a possible OC candidate. I do like the fact that he's already been a head coach and probably don't want to be one for a little bit. That is good for a possible long-term solution. You also got to understand that if again, Daboll, if you just throw away the Giants, you can't throw it away because it's still on his resume. But him coming from the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen, he was an offensive mind guru. Everybody liked him. And if you notice, the Giants just got a bad aura. Look what Daniel Jones did outside of the Giants organization. Tiffany said KP is gone. That's all I was worried about. Yeah, especially when I read the report from Jeff McClain that he might get demoted and still be on the staff as the passing game coordinator. He is probably the worst coach in Eagles history. I mean, him and Chip Kelly, they fighting for that number one spot. Jacob said, yo, bro, did you hear about Mike Tomlin? Yes, as this all transpired, Mike Tomlin decided to step down as the head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers, making it a 19-year run, and he stepped down. Santo Prince said, I love McDaniels, would be awesome. I agree. Thank you, base God. The ball coach hurts already and had dark cooking. Giants just sucked. Hey, that's what I'm saying. He got the familiarity with Jalen Hurts from Alabama. He also coached against him a couple years in the NFC East. Had Jackson Dart looking pretty darn good. The Giants just sucked. Again, just look at that boy, Daniel Jones. He went from Daniel Pennies back to Daniel Dimes. Pretty Mimi said, thank the Lord he's gone. Ryan said 18 weeks later, 18 weeks too late. I'm with you on that. E said Nick's screaming and talking smack in the Bills tunnel after winning by 1 point and the worst offensive performance of the year while our players look at him like he's insane. It's his offense, not KP. Yeah, I do believe it's his structure, but even in his structure, KP made it look the worst. If it was his structure with Shane Steichen, at least Shane made it look right or presentable. Kellen Moore made it look presentable. Even Brian Johnson, we didn't like the calls in which he called him, but we still had a top 10 offense. Nothing was good with this guy as the OC. Nothing. Red zone, but it was only so good because we barely got there. So yeah, Nick Sirianni has to be I'm muted. The sound keep going in and out. Let me double check something real quick. Yo, test. Yo. All right, should be good. At the end of the day, Nick Sirianni needs an OC that is going to stay here. That's the only way you could really move forward with Nick Sirianni. I think at the end of the day, Howie and Lori have to think long and hard about Nick Sirianni. I still need a couple days. I'm still so upset. I don't want to say something that I might regret. I really want to think about it long and hard. Should and can the Eagles continue to have success with Nick Sirianni at the head coach and just change an OC? Or should we get a head coach in here that we not only believe in as a motivator, but a guy who can call games if needed, fix certain situations, have an offense or defensive mind, right? I feel like a head coach should have the ability to take over one side of the ball if needed. Pause. Mike McDaniel, like him as an OC, have to do more research on how his players liked him and how he functioned as a head coach. Think about some of these guys in the past, like Fangio, great defensive coordinator, but how does head coaching tenures go? Not so good. Jim Schwartz, great defensive coordinator. How his head coaching jobs go? Not so good. Mike McDaniel got the head coaching job for his great offensive mind. And so far with the Miami Dolphins, he hasn't had success as a head coach. But he got the head coaching job opportunity because of how great his mind was. So I look at I look at it as, look at Brian Daboll. What he did with the Buffalo Bills and that innovated offense with Josh Allen and molding him and blah, 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 got him the Giants job. Didn't do good as a Giants coach, but nobody does good with the Giants as Daniel Jones. I think Cliff Kingsbury's an option. I think Tom Monken's an option. I think Brian Daboll's an option. I think Mike McDaniel's an option. If you're talking about head coach, I don't know about that yet. And I still got to take some days and think about it. McDaniels was amazing with the 49ers. But as the head coach, how did he do commanding everybody? Look at a guy like Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels under Bill Belichick was one of the great minds on offense. Now, granted, he had Tom Brady and was really good with, and Tom Brady was, Tom Brady. But Josh McDaniels, as an OC, was really, really good. Him as a head coach with the Raiders or the Broncos, wherever he went, didn't work out. There's just some people who are great coordinators. And because they're so good of a coordinator, they get an offensive job, head coaching job, and they're not quite head coaching material. Head coach and OC is so different. Now, I want my head coach to be able to take over for one side of the ball if things start to spiral, which it did with Kevin Patullo, and that's why I'm glad he's fired. But as a head coach, you still got to be the leader of, you got to be a leader of men. You got to create a culture. You got to have the respect of all 53 people on this roster. There's a lot of egos on a football team that you got to manage. Some people can call a shit out of, some people can call a great offense or defensive game or come up with great schemes and defensive plays, but just can't do the head coaching thing. Fangio, great DC. Like we already talked about it. I don't want to keep saying the same thing over and over again. Some people are X and O guys and can put people in the right position and call up a game. Some people can lead a group of men. That's all where we need to figure this out. Again, we've saw the success we had with this roster and Nick Sirianni as a player's coach, a CEO coach. The thing is, whoever comes in at OC, which we're going to be looking at, and hopefully the sooner we lock one in, the better. The longer we take to hire an OC, the less options we're going to have. Right now, everybody's on the board. Mike McDaniel, Cliff Kingsbury, Tom Monken, Brian Daboll. A lot of people are on the board. You start waiting, you start losing your opportunities. Green Wingman with a $5 super chat. Not only do they need a new OC, but probably a senior advisor to work alongside Nick because his field of game has been awful and non-existent. The feel for the game is important too, and he just doesn't have that. So if you ask me right now, I'm upset with Nick, so I don't really got much good stuff to say about him yet. That's why I want at least a week to really have a clear mind before I make a rational decision about head coach, because that's big. Again, we're naming all these coordinators that will definitely call a better game than both Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo, and also have a little stature to their name, right? Shane had a little NFL stature. That's why Nick couldn't bully him to doing exactly what he wanted. Equaled success for the Eagles. Brian Johnson, Kevin Patullo got no NFL stature and were easily manipulated and bullied into doing whatever Nick wanted to, and also just not being able to call plays in the right sequence to build up on stuff and everything. Kellen Moore had a top offense in the NFL with the Cowboys, did some good things with the Charger. He had some NFL equity. Couldn't be bullied. Eagles had success again. So again, a decision still got to be made with Nick Sirianni. The fact that he came out and fired Kevin Patullo lets me know I don't think Nick Sirianni is going anywhere. And so again, we have to utilize that when we're looking for our next OC. If you can get a guy who was a previous head coach, there's a chance he stays with the Eagles longer than if you get a guy who's never been a head coach. He comes to Philly. We go win a Super Bowl. Cha-ching. and then he leaves. Shout out to Green Wingman for the first super chat of the day. Also, I want to tell you that I was just live about 2 hours ago talking a lot of stuff Eagles, including the Niners game, some Patullo stuff, and a bunch of stuff. Go check that out if you haven't watched it when this is over. We're not going to stay live long here. Like I said, I pretty much said all I had to say about Nick Sirianni, Kevin Patullo, the hitch routes, what Fran Duffy said, and KP crying that it's not his fault. That not his fault videos in the other live stream. Go check it out. I just wanted to, after I ended that live stream, to go get my kids. I'm driving back home and we got the da-na-na. Source. Eagles fire offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo. He wasn't the only problem, but he was the main problem. I agree with Pretty Mimi there, but I hear you, Randy. He wasn't the only problem. We got to fix this offensive line. But good offensive coaches can still work around a beat-up offensive line. We've seen it time and time again. You know, the Niners' offensive line hasn't been the best or healthiest, but Shanahan got them playing right. It's the way you call plays. Eagles Sixers said, you all are overthinking as fans usually do. Fire Nick and promote Scott Leffler from within, who already has a relationship with Jalen Scott, also has a winning record as an OC and a head coach at BGSU. So you want Scott Leffler to be the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles from quarterback coach to head coach? Sheesh. Jake Elliott should be next? Yes. I saw a stat about Jake Elliott. Not only is Jake Elliott part of the reason why we lost that playoff game because he missed the extra point, which would have made us not need to go for a touchdown there on 4th and 11 to try to convert. We could have kicked the game tying field goal. But in the playoffs, he has the worst extra point percentage. He's the worst extra point playoff kicker. Listen, I got a lot of love for Jake Elliott, but he's been here just maybe a little bit too long. I love how he came in as a little mini guy, Chicken Little, Jake the Make. You know, he got all these names, but his time has ran up. Last year, we saw him falling off a cliff. Now, he did pick it back up in the postseason. Thank you for that. But that's where it should have ended. I love Jake for what he did. 2-time Super Bowl champion. Not many Eagles can say 2-time Super Bowl champion. Fletch and Kelsey are only 1-times. You know what I'm saying? Jalen, AJ, and Smitty are 1-times. Jake Elliott, Lane Johnson, BG, they're the only 2-time Super Bowl. So I got love for him, but it's time. It's better to leave respectfully than to be we can't see this no more. Jose said it's a beautiful day. Elliott, Ringo, Epps gotta go. I like Epps for depth. Cheap safety right there. Timothy said no within hire. Internal hires won't stand up to Nick. I agree. We needed someone to run a true offensive scheme and contribute to Jalen's development. Let Howie evaluate and hire. I agree. Brian Daboll, Cliff Kingsbury, Todd Monken, Mike McDaniel are some of the first names I'm thinking about as it pertains to OC. Todd Monken is pretty content with being an OC, meaning he was under hardball for so long. Get him under Nick Sirianni, maybe Todd Monken stays. I like the style on offense that we saw from the Baltimore Ravens, minus Lamar not being clutch enough to win it. Todd Monken's good. Brian Daboll sucked as a head coach with the Giants, but got his offensive-minded name for what he did with the Bills as an OC with Josh Allen. Everybody on the Giants sucks. Ask Daniel Jones what he did when he left New York, the Big Apple. Todd Monken's content with being an OC. He might be a long-term solution. Brian Daboll, just got done being a head coach. He like, I'm not trying to be a head coach anymore. Might be a long-term solution. Mike McDaniels, great offensive mind with the San Francisco 49ers. Not so much head coach material. Might be a long-term solution. Cliff Kingsbury is the only one I can see that if we bring him in and he does good, he bounces like Kellen Moore did. Because Kellen Moore was an OC in Dallas, then an OC in LA Chargers, then an OC with the Eagles, won a Super Bowl, and became a head coach. Cliff Kingsbury was a college coach, now OC with the Commanders. If he flips to OC with the Eagles and we go pretty far, he might be a head coach. Eric Bieniemy, been an OC for a while, learned under the great Andy Reid. He might eventually want to be a head coach too, but he's been looking content. He's been taking lateral jobs, right? Going from one OC job to another. Someone said Byron Leftwich. I would have to look into his style of coaching and playing before I would say yes or no. Eric Bieniemy, Brian Leftwich, I'm going to look into them, but I know a little bit more about Eric Bieniemy and his style of play. So my next couple videos are all going to have breakdowns of why I think this coach would be good and or bad for the Eagles, because now the start. Now the search starts. It officially starts. Like I said, go back and check out the last live stream I did. It's only about 48 minutes. A lot of different topics we covered, but I didn't want to stay too long simply because I just did a stream, and this is 2 streams in the last 3 hours. Rimo said, nah, Leftwich was kind of weak as OC. I want to do some due diligence on that. Frank Wright, another name thrown in the hat. Again, I like names. I do like names that already been a head coach. And it's like, bro, I'm content with being an OC for 2 or 3 years. Mike McCarthy, can he run a team? Well, he did in Green Bay. Didn't do well in Dallas. But I will say this, under Mike McCarthy, the offense for the Cowboys was actually good. The last time the Cowboys were a double-digit team, the last time the Cowboys won double-digit wins was with Mike McCarthy. And he's not running the team. He's running the offense. So, again, I would love for Jalen Hurts to be included in the decision. I would love for Jalen Hurts to be included in the decision. Christine Elizabeth said, even if someone like McDaniel says he liked to OC for 3 years, all it takes is one head coach offer and he's gone. That's true. That's true. But I think it's still a little different. The league looks at you different when you showed that you can, when you showed what you're about. The league don't give many second chances. Like Harbaugh will get a second chance because he's a Super Bowl head coach and he's been with a team for a while. Think about the coaches that get second chances. Mike McCarthy got a second head coaching job years later because of the run with Green Bay. Tomlin will get a chance because of what he did with the Steelers. Hardball. Stefanski's just the next new upcoming, and maybe they're thinking Brown's organization stinks, but Mike McDaniels, great with the Niners, showed that he can't run an organization with the Dolphins. So if Mike McDaniels is the Eagles OC, he's not going to leave the Eagles to go laterally. He would have to get a head coaching job opportunity. But teams remember, Josh McDaniels, great OC with the Patriots, become a head coach for the Broncos, can't do it, goes back with the Patriots and stays with the Patriots for a long time. So I feel like coaches like that don't get second chances like the coaches who've been around. Doug Peterson got a second chance because he was a couple years head coach, a Super Bowl champion. So, like, they're the coaches that get second chances. Mike McDaniels, how many years was he with the Dolphins? 3? How many playoff appearances? And you could say We don't want that here. He can't run a team, but he damn sure can run an offense, especially if you got guys like AJ, Smitty, Lane, Malata, Barkley, Hurts. Green Wingman with a $10 super chat. Now I'm hearing that he's not being fired, but being demoted. Schefter's statement from Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni, who is open to keeping Patullo on the staff. Thoughts? What? Hold up. Where? That's on Twitter? Hold up. Where do you see that? I don't see it. Let me know where you see that, Green Wingman. I just want him off the squad, though. You know what I mean? Because even when we had Kellen Moore, and we were questioning why certain times the offensive passing game wasn't great, he was the passing game coordinator. I don't know. I think it's Ty. Where'd you see that, dog? Oh shit. He said, now I'm hearing that he's not being fired, but demoted. Schefter's statement from the Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni, who is open to keeping Kevin Patullo on staff. Thoughts? Where did you hear that, though? I want to get the temperature on Nick Sirianni, too. He better be demoted to ball boy. You passed it on the official statement under Schefter. Hold on. Statement from Eagles head coach. Oh my God. So, but why would Schefter say that? When this says, I have decided to make a change at offensive coordinator. I met with Kevin today to discuss a difficult decision as he's a great coach and who has my utmost respect. He's been integral to the team's success over the last 5 years, not only on the field product, but behind the scenes as a value leader for our players and organization. I have no doubt he will continue to have a successful coaching career. Ultimately, when we fall short of our goals, that responsibility lies on my shoulders. But when he says, I have no doubt he will continue to have a successful coaching career, I'm thinking that's elsewhere. But Schefter does clearly say here, let's zoom into it. Dun, dun, dun. Hold on. Lordy, lordy, lordy. That's scary right there. Statement from Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni, who is open to keeping Kevin Patullo on the staff. If he's on the staff, he's kept on the staff, then of course he's going to get his passing game coordinator job back. Now, again, how involved is the passing game coordinator? I mean, his job would be to coordinate the passes, right? Like prepare route trees and all that. But if an experienced offensive coordinator is in here, he might be chirping and that might be going in one ear and out the other. Honestly, that's kind of stupid to me, though, too, because if you bring in an experienced OC, he's going to want one of his guys to be a passing game coordinator. See, when Kellen Moore was hired, that's also the thing. Check this out. After Brian Johnson was fired, the Eagles went real hard on Cliff Kingsbury. But Cliff Kingsbury wanted full control of the offense and to bring his guys in as quarterback coach, passing game coordinator, probably quality control person. Cliff wanted to bring his guys and full control. Kellen was willing to work with Nick's little homie, Kevin Patullo. Him not being OC is the main goal. The fact that we already tried the in-house hire twice now and failed epically. The fact that we tried the in-house hire and failed epically twice, we're going to get an experienced OC. And again, Nick Seriani is open to keeping Kevin Patullo on staff, which probably would mean old job passing game coordinator. But Nick Sirianni's job is not 100% safe either. So if we get Mike McDaniels or Cliff Kingsbury or Todd Monken or Brian Daboll or Frank Wright or Eric Bieniemy or any of these guys, the more experience they have, the more they're going to want to bring in their guys. And Nick might be saying now, maybe I could keep them. Let's see what the OC says, or let's see how the OC feels. But I'm with everybody and anybody that says, get this man out of town. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. So again, don't shout out to Green Wingman for spotting this, but don't put too much emphasis on it because again, statement from Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni, who is open, never said is open to keeping Kevin Patullo on staff. But when you read the note, he said he's confident he'll have success coaching like he's talking about it elsewhere. Robert Cuffs is right. And NFL stands for not for long, no matter what. Sorry, but being open isn't enough for me. I'm with you, Mama E. I'm absolutely with you. Too much, buddy. That's facts. If Doug had to go, Nick definitely has to go. Nick's been to two, though. Tony said KP can be on the staff, the janitorial staff. Hell no, I want him. Hey, he's over there sweeping up. Still like, hey, can I see the playbook? He's like, yo, you know what would look good with that in-breaking route? A couple hitches. This man's sweeping by Cliff Kingsbury's or Mike McDaniels or somebody's offense. He's like just sweeping on by, just get a little knock on the door. How's that seat treating you? You know, there's these routes called hitches. Why do an in-breaking route when you can just run 48 hitches? Oh shit, man. Yeah, get him out of the building. I don't need him talking to nobody. I don't want him talking to nobody. Ain't no way. I don't need him talking to nobody. Just get him out. Oh Lord. That's crazy. I kind of have a headache now simply because I read that statement from Eagles head coach. Pretty Mimi said if they fire Nick, what do you think about Brian Flores, Mike? He already has an interview with the Ravens, though. I'm a big Brian Flores guy. He's more of a defensive-minded coach, though. So again, with Fangio being that dude on the defensive side, I would like to get a offensive-minded coach in here. Even if we did get a whole brand new head coach, I don't want a brand new head coach who has an offensive mind because of how content I think Fangio is. I like Brian Flores. That's a tough nose guy. He's tough. I like it. But I just feel like you bring in a defensive side coordinator. Now he might be, oh, well, Vic, I want you to blitz a little bit more. And Vic, like, bro, I just want a Super Bowl, So I would like the defense side to be alone. I would want even if we, and again, I'm not fully sure. I don't even know if I'm on the fire Nick Sirianni or not. I still want to give it a couple days to let my blood pressure come down before I make the decision. All that being said, I feel like with Fangio being content over there, I would want our new head coach, if we went that way, to be offensive minded. Now, we didn't have Fangio, then it doesn't matter. Then again, I just want my head coach to be able to take over one side of the ball if needed, right? Say we had 2 new coordinators. I need my coach, if he's offensive head mind, step in on the offense if it's acting stupid. Take play calling away if it's acting stupid, and vice versa. You know what I mean? But that being said, we've been live for 41 minutes. Again, I was just live an hour or 2 ago before all this news happened. So go check out that live stream too, because there's much more information in it. This was all about the Kevin Patullo firing and the new, I can't even speak. This stream was all about the KP firing and the fact that now we have to start our search for our new OC. Right now we're looking for an OC. We'll figure out if we're looking for an HC too, a head coach. But like I said, if you're just tuning in, you can rewatch this. If you didn't check the other one out, go check that one out. It will be popping up at the end of this. Not this, but if you're, I have no idea. Too many live streams one day, and this statement got me a little worried. I ain't even going cap. We will find out soon enough. The end of the season, Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni presser will be coming up. And when that comes up, they'll definitely ask the question, what do you mean? Is KP fired at OC and staying on the staff, or is he fired and being demoted? We'll find that out. Like I said, Cliff Kingsbury, Mike McDaniels, Todd Monken, Brian Daboll, all options to me. Eric Bieniemy, Frank Wright. I got to look into some other ones. With that being said, make sure you got the notification bell hit so when we go live, you're live with us right away. So you don't have to watch these on a rerun or come in when we're 42 minutes in. You could be here early and I can read your comment. Thoughts on A.J. Brown? We're going to have to figure out his attitude, what he wants to do. The money says he's going to be back here. But if 2 parties are ready to move on, they can change the money. They can restructure something. But right now, with the money how it is, ain't no trading AJ. But if we're sick of him and or he's sick of us, Howie will change them numbers and send him on his way. We'll figure that out. With that being said, I love y'all to death. Notification bell is important, and I'll catch you on the next one. We out. Peace.